Good morning, good morning, good morning. Merry stupid o'clock, everyone. Welcome to my Sunday. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC this morning. But before we go ahead and get started, a few of the usual disclaimers and the usual side rant slash babble. So, yeah, as you guys know, if you watched yesterday's video, I went to our kind of used athletic store, played again sports yesterday, got myself an exercise band, and relearned what I learn every time I start working out an unused muscle target area. God, that shit hurts. But by the way it hurts, I know I'm hitting the areas that I need to get freaking targeted. After all, folks, I'm not trying to lose weight. I am trying to convert certain areas of my body that I still haven't fixed since my heavy drinking days into muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat. So, yeah. There's that. And also got new workout shirt. I was using a Walmart undershirt for my workout shirt, for God's sake. And it's just no bueno. So, yay for all of that. Useful retail therapy. Okay, so now we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we get going this morning, folks, the usual disclaimers. First off, as always, you're going to see the link in the description box alongside the other links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject. So, any of you, whether you be trolls for the JRC or trolls for AH, want to come in here and tell us that we're fucking lazy again, I dare you to click on that link. Dare you. Because I've read every single document and watched every single video on that archive at least 3 times, at the very least. Sorry. Also, we have the ever-present templates, folks. Sign your name, click on your senator, all right? If you click on that link, by the way, there are several other templates, including the very important one in regards to getting it to where disabled people don't have to continue to live underneath the goddamn poverty line in order to receive some help. So, yeah, wanted to mention that. We also have the ever-present and self-explanatory Change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. Now, folks, 2 trigger warnings. First off, remember, this report is from 1982. So, terminology is old, it's ableist, it's bigoted. But it comes from the report, not from me. Also, when we talk about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? Ow! Ah! Okay. Also, lastly, folks, obviously, because there's a reason why my channel is called Spilling Tea, folks. It's not always about spilling the truth. Sometimes it's literally just about spilling hot tea all over myself. I am accident prone, for God's sake. So, if you notice, I'm in a very chatty, kind of antagonistic mood this morning. Also, I have not had my second thing of coffee yet. So, if I stumble over my words, go on off onto a babbled rant, lose my place, and take a left turn, and then take another left turn, my apologies in advance. And also, please excuse the constant throat clearing. I get it. I do. But realize for some reason in this state, allergy season, in spite of it being in the middle of freaking winter, has never gone away. So, Yeah, there's that. Alright, so now going back to where we were. Thank God I didn't burn my legs. Too bad. Alright, so section 80341 provides in relevant part. This is where we left off yesterday. All facilities. Each person receiving services from a community care facility shall have rights which include but are not limited to the following: to be accorded dignity in his personal relationship with staff and other persons. With the JRC? To be accorded safe, helpful, and comfortable accommodations, furnishings, and equipment. Not to be subjected to corporal or unusual punishment, humiliation, mental abuse, or punitive interference connected with the daily functions of living, such as eating or sleeping. California, I don't know where you've been, but that's what aversive therapy is. You might want to do a little bit more digging into ABA. Trust me, it's eye-opening. To be informed by the license of the provisions of law regarding complaints of procedures for registering complaints, confidentiality, including but not limited to the address and telephone number of the complaint receiving unit of the department and licensing agency. Section 80341 provides in relevant part: all persons admitted to facilities or their parents shall receive a copy of rights enumerated in Section 80341 upon admission to the facility. Of course, they receive that in the pamphlet, folks, but if you believe for 5 fucking seconds that they uphold any of the rights or dignity of any of these kids to this day, yeah. Just saying. Respondent has received limited permission to use specific punishments as part of its behavior modifications program. However, respondent has violated those portions of Section 80341 and with which it is required to comply as follows. Okay, So on one hand, you're telling them they can't use corporal punishment, and on the other hand, you're telling them they can? Make it make sense, people. What do you think adversive therapy is? What do you think spanking is? But Tiffany, it's treatment. Electrocuting them is treatment. If that is treatment, I don't ever want to see another fucking doctor a day in my life. God damn. This is what I mean, folks. Whenever I say that a lot of things that are not even allowed in public schools anymore, yet are allowed at facilities like this, and why? They use that goddamn term treatment to cover a whole lot of crimes and cruelty. Just saying. Because if you call abuse treatment and give it the veneer of professionalism, then a lot less people are likely to have qualms about it. And those like me, who dare raise our hands up and question it, are then basically tarred and feathered by the fucking media, saying we don't know what's good for us. I'm not kidding. Not even remotely kidding. The whole idea, the word behavior modification program, is as sinister as it sounds. Just saying. Respondent punitively interfered with the residents' daily functions of living, such as eating, sleeping, elimination, and bathing in the following instances and for the unknown period of time before and after these instances. In or about June or July 1981, Student received no breakfast or lunch on one day. Blank received no dinner on that day. On or about June 9th, 1981, Blank received no dinner. Student received no breakfast on that date. C. For an unknown period of time during June and July 1981, respondent did not provide student with 3 meals a day. Nor do they still, folks. D. During the period from June 30th to July 8th, 1981, student was deprived of sufficient food to the extent that he lost 7 pounds. Sounds like the death of Linda Cornelison, doesn't it? E. On or about February the 27th, 1981, respondent did not allow student breakfast, lunch, or dinner because of inappropriate behavior. He received no food for 21 hours. On this date, the records showed that he had lunch, but staff at the facility said he had eaten nothing. F. In or about February 1981, student was deprived of meals up to 3 times a week. G. On about December the 12th, 1980, respondent refused to allow student to sleep in his bed. H. During November and December 1980 and for an unknown period of time after that period, respondent did not allow student to sleep in his bed. He was made to sleep on the floor, with one arm tied to a desk and the other arm tied to a board with a blanket thrown over him. Employees were instructed to keep an account of how often he chanted and to administer a water squirt each time he chanted during the night. On or about November the 5th, 1980, respondent withheld breakfast from student. On occasion during the period from September through December 1980, and for an unknown period of time before and after that month, student was placed in the backyard of the facility by himself while in restraints. Respondent fed student when he was in the yard by placing a plate of food on the ground with no eating utensils. Student would have to eat with his arms restrained to his sides. K. On occasion during the period of September the 3rd through December the 15th, 1980, and on unknown occasions before or after that period, student would be taken from the backyard and hosed down with the garden hose to consequate an inappropriate behavior while fucking restrained in the backyard, hands behind his back. If student hit more than one time a day, his shower privilege would be taken away and he would be hosed down. L. The personal rights of student would be violated while he was in isolation as follows. 1. On occasion during the period from September the 3rd through December the 15th, 1980, while student was in isolation, student was fed lettuce and mayonnaise, with protein powder sprinkled on top of the mayonnaise. On other occasions, he would receive lettuce and mayonnaise 3 times a day and a glass of milk with a protein additive as his only food. When the student was placed in isolation, respondent would not allow anyone to speak to student for 24 hours. He would be streamed in the classroom behind the boxes until 11 p.m. Then he would be tied to a piece of furniture in the living room in a kneeling position to sleep. On these occasions, he would be deprived of a bed, pillow, and blanket. Jesus Christ. And how in the name of God was a federal investigation not done the fucking second this came out? The second. Goddamn. 3. On several occasions during the period from September through December 1980, and unknown occasions before and after that period, student was not allowed to go to the bathroom, was deprived of his meals, and deprived of his bed. Oh my God. H. On numerous occasions during the period from September through December 1980, and for an unknown period of time before and after that period, many meals were served. The food for a meal would be divided into portions that would be earned by appropriate behavior. The residents would be deprived of portions of their meal for inappropriate behavior. When serving of food was delayed, certain foods such as French toast, cold cereal, and fried eggs would become rubbery and unappetizing. Some students were unable to exhibit sufficient appropriate behaviors to earn an adequate amount of food. And on numerous occasions during the period November the 20th, 1978 through July 18th, 1980, respondent did not allow student to sleep in his bed but required him to sleep on a mat on the living room floor for the convenience of staff. Jesus. C. Sorry. O. During the period from January through July 1980, for an unknown period of time before that period, respondent practiced a procedure of waking student once every 3 hours every night to bring him to the bathroom, thus preventing him from sleeping for a basis. A water squirt, too, is administered to a bent-over resident by an employee who's holding the resident's neck between his or her thighs, with the student's hands forced up above the student's back and the water squirting at the resident's face in that position. It is not proper behavior modification technique to use humiliation in involuntary subjects as an adversive consequence. Really? Because everything I've learned about ABA, yes, including the so-called softer ABA, begs to differ. But what do I know? I've only worked in the damn field. Not to mention half the diagnosis. 3. Respondent failed to accord the residents of BRI dignity in their personal relationships with staff and other persons in the instances alleged in paragraphs, let's see here, 14 and 15, and in parts 1 and 2 of this paragraph. 4. Respondent failed to accord the residents of BRI safe, helpful, and comfortable accommodations, furnishings, and equipment in instances alleged in paragraphs 14, 16, let's see here, 20, no, that's 19, and in parts 1 and 2 of this paragraph. 5. Respondent has consequently failed to inform the parents of its residents of their right to complain to community care licensing. And by the way, folks, they're like, oh, but they can write a business letter to complain. Although they shut it down, it's part of your program, so yeah. Yeah, their rights are being respected, sure. Sure, Karen. Section 80341 provides in relevant part that, in addition to A above, each person provided services by a residential facility shall have and may exercise the following rights: to have his family or surrogates regularly informed by the facility or activities related to his care or services, including ongoing evaluations as appropriate to his needs. To have communications to the facility from his relatives, guardian, or conservator, answering promptly and appropriately. To have his close relatives or persons responsible for resident visit at mutually agreed upon hours, but without prior notice, and to be allowed other visitors to mutually agreed upon arrangements. Respondent has violated 80431 as follows. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start on that one tomorrow because this one was loaded. So let's think about everything that we have learned so far. Starving kids, documented, proven. We have where they're literally tying a student to a board and forced and restrained in a kneeling position, not allowing them food or be able to use the bathroom, no blanket, no, they have to sleep like that. You have all of this going on, all of this documented in this investigation, yet somehow There was no federal investigation into this place. Why? Why? Because, folks, we all know they have not gotten better. Oh no, they shined up their veneer real well, but they've actually gotten worse. They've actually gotten worse. Yet somehow, in spite of all that we know, the reports that go all the way back to 1979, this place continues to find safe havens, continues to be protected, and continues to run. And the Massachusetts courts, in spite of all the evidence that is out there, that is more than readily available to the public, it's still open. It is still never been federally investigated, and they keep getting away with torturing these kids. And why do they get away with it? Why? I can tell you. Because it's called treatment. Apparently, it doesn't matter what atrocities and inhumane acts you commit, as long as your victims are disabled and you call it treatment. So they don't care if we're being starved, tied to boards, no blanket, no food, whether we get murdered, whether we are shocked over and over and over again. As long as it has that professional veneer of treatment, then people don't care what happens to people like these kids. It's a sick, sick world we live in, folks. And unless we have the able-bodied people alongside the disabled people raise their voices up and say, we will no longer accept that all things are fair and good. If it's in the name of treatment, it will continue. And one day, folks, it might be your child, or it might be you. And on that note, folks, I'm going to go ahead and close out this morning. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.